Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to the second installment of the Weekly Crap Recap. This is for the week of April 30th to May 6th. So there's a few things I have here, as you can see, 6 different issues to go over. I should note, though, that primarily I always do an archive search of these news articles. The reason I actually got from Styx Hexenhammer, because there's no point for us funding the corporate media, especially with advertisers pulling out of YouTube, all to placate the corporate media. There's no point for us to actually help them achieve more money. So, but that being said, there are a couple videos. This one I did not, on CNN, I did not archive because I want to watch this video here. It's really interesting. Then, of course, I have one of my own videos we're going to go over, but let's start with the beginning here. So Hillary Clinton is back again. So now she's been back for quite a while. So she has changed her tune quite a bit recently. First, she blamed misogyny. And then she blamed racism. And then she blamed inherent sexism of the middle class, meaning that middle class Americans are inherently against women and women being in power. That they don't believe a woman can be in power, that they're not strong enough physically or tough enough mentally. And now she has a new person to blame, and it's James Comey. And of course, she says the Russian WikiLeaks. Not WikiLeaks, the Russian WikiLeaks. She's ignorant of the fact, or maybe she hopes that her audience is ignorant to the fact, that WikiLeaks has indeed published material that would go against the betterment of Russia. So for an agency like WikiLeaks to be completely owned by the Russian government, and at the same time to attack and denigrate their political standpoint, I don't think I could see that. That's like you having your own job, and then on the sideline, completely attacking your boss and unleashing to the world or his deepest, darkest secrets. You know, I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But she has to blame Comey now because she is so ignorant of the fact that the reason she lost is not because of inherent misogyny or racism or bigotry or demagoguery or James Comey or WikiLeaks. It is because you are a corrupt liar, Hillary. You are a fraud. You say you support women's rights, yet you receive money from countries in the Middle East who oppress women. Countries who actually throw gay people off of roofs. Countries who say it's okay to bang little 13-year-old girls, and if they complain, you can stone them to death, like happened in the United Arab Emirates, I want to say. I did a video once before. It's called Islam, a Religion of Hate, ? And I go over in there at video some different instances of women oppression in the Islamic faith, and I think it was the United Arab Emirates, but Pakistan, I mean, they all do it. They do what's called honor killings. And the whole point of the honor killing is that if your child, your daughter, is a victim of some type of horrible offense against her, you can kill her to spare her the embarrassment of being raped. And this happens all the time. That being said, I don't want to go over the Islamic faith here. This is a different topic, but it kind of shows where her loyalties lie and the hypocrisy that she truly possesses. So let's go over the article here. Hillary Clinton on Tuesday said she took absolute personal responsibility for losing her presidential campaign, but went on to blame FBI Director James Comey and Russian interference for aiding Republican rival Donald Trump's ascension to the presidency. Yes, it was my fault. My campaign wasn't that good, but it actually wasn't my fault because I would have won on October 27th. That's what she said. She would have won on October 27th if the election were held that day. Because she thinks that James Comey, his letter on October 28th, saying that he is reopening the investigation into her because of her top aide sending classified material to her husband illegally, she thinks if that didn't happen, she would have won. And David Axelrod, he used to work for the Obama administration. He was on CNN, and he actually defended the election results. I was pretty impressed. He said that James Comey, or WikiLeaks, didn't make Hillary not campaign in Wisconsin. It didn't make Hillary not campaign in Michigan. She did that on her own. So you can blame whoever you want, but the fact is, the WikiLeaks material did not change the minds of millions of people. It may have changed some of those minds. I don't dispute that. But to actually change the minds of millions of people to turn a state that has been blue for decades, like Wisconsin and Michigan, to a red state is way more significant than than just saying it was somebody else who was responsible for your loss. Clinton specifically cited the letter from Comey late in the campaign, saying agents were looking into possible new information related to Clinton's secret homebrewed computer server. She was ultimately never charged with a crime, and Comey cleared Clinton on Sunday before the election. That in itself is a crime. You know, next time I get pulled over for speeding or what have you, I'm going to try the Hillary rule. I'm going to say that I didn't see a speed limit sign, so I had no idea I was breaking the law. And I should actually take it to court. Just go to a small claims court or whatever, or a traffic court, and see if I can use the ignorant defense. Because what we know, and you don't have to be a lawyer to know this, all you have to do is go to one single class in school, from middle school to high school, whatever, and they will tell you, ignorance of the law is not a defense. You cannot say, well, I didn't know what I was doing was illegal, and then break the law. You cannot do that. But apparently you can if you are a higher class, if you are a presidential candidate who has corrupt friends over the administration. Or all through government, I should say. So I should try that once to see what happens. But I know me personally, I will probably get fined. There's no way I could get off of that. But if you're Hillary Clinton or if you're Uma Abedin, apparently you can. She also mentioned WikiLeaks, the anti-secrecy website which some analysts believe to be connected to Russia and which posted the hacked emails of Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. Yes, they think it's from Russia because if it wasn't from Russia, that means that Hillary Clinton was shown to be a fraud from people in her own presence. People who work for her, like Seth Rich, for example, showed how corrupt the DNC was. People like that. And it's not really hard either to hack somebody whose password for their email is password, and who easily clicks on phishing emails that when you click it, it gives hackers access to your account. So it's not really hard to do that, but of course they have to blame somebody. They have to blame a world government, because if they don't, and then there won't be enough anger at Donald Trump, because they'll be like, well, maybe somebody just helped him. But if you actually can blame the government of Russia, if you can say Putin is responsible for Trump, then you are solidifying a common bond between Putin and Trump, and therefore you can deflect all of Putin's transgressions onto Trump and say Trump is responsible because he's in cahoots with Putin. So both are the same to that regard. And that's the whole narrative they're trying to push with the whole Putin-Trump thing, is that Putin's evil and Trump is working with Putin, so by default, Trump is evil. And that's what they're using to incentivize or to foster public outrage over Donald Trump and his administration. I was on my way to winning until a combination of Jim Comey's letter on October 28th and Russian WikiLeaks, raised doubts in the minds of people who were inclined to vote for me but were scared off. Yes, Hillary. Millions of people changed their mind on October 27th because of James Comey reopening investigation into you. Clinton said the women, blah, blah, blah. She added, if the election were on October 27th, I'd be your president. Yes, and if you were the president, you would still be relevant. But right now, you're not the president, so just go away. Go hide in your hole or whatever, your black lagoon, wherever you come from. Go with Bill. Go watch him get with some woman, and you sit back and pretend you don't know about it. But those presidential aspirations seemed to be a thing of the past for Clinton, who said, however, that she wasn't getting out of politics entirely. I'm now back to being an activist citizen and part of the resistance. Clinton said she was writing a book about her experience as a 2016 Democratic nominee, and it'll probably sell just as good as her last book. And if you don't know how good that was, look it up. It came out at a similar time that one of Bill O'Reilly's books came out, and he already, like in one weekend, he had millions and millions of copies sold, and she had like less than 100,000, I think, or something like that. So, pretty sure that this next book will also be a complete failure, just like her presidential campaign was. It's a painful process reliving the campaign, she said. Clinton, the first female presidential candidate of a major party, said her election would have been a really big deal. There were important maybe if for the nominee, but what's her name? Michelle Bachmann, who was a joke, she ran in 2012. I guess Hillary did 2008. I think wasn't there another woman president though that ran in the 1990s or 2000s, I thought? Or maybe there is one, a VP candidate, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Whatever, move on. There are important messages that could have sent, Clinton said. Taking a hit at Trump, Clinton said the president should worry less about the election and my winning the popular vote. Moderator Christina Manipur at one point asked Clinton if she was a victim of misogyny, to which she replied, "Yes, I do think it played a role. And I think as we learn more and more about unprecedented foreign interference from a foreign leader who's not in my fan club." Yes, Hillary, you lost because you're a woman. It's just, I hate women, and there are millions of people like me, and especially people in Wisconsin and Michigan. They hate you because of your sex. They don't hate you because of your policies or your hypocrisy or your crimes. They hate you because of your gender, and that's why they went red for the first time in decades. You are so right, Hillary. Stephen Colbert faced controversy over R-rated Donald Trump joke. Okay, I did a video on this a few days ago, so I will not go over all of it like I did before. The other video I think was like 9 minutes long, so I won't probably spend that much time on it, but here's my opinion on this. Now, for those who don't know what Stephen Colbert did, he made some incendiary jokes on Donald Trump's expense, and he did so because he was upset over Donald Trump ending an interview with John Dickens, I think his name is, from CBS, where Trump got up and basically walked out of the interview. And he did so because he told the Dickens to not ask him about the Obamagate, and Dickens did ask him about Obamagate, so he ended the interview. So Colbert then, in a total act of retaliation and revenge, decided to roast Donald Trump, for lack of a better word, in a way that is completely derogatory. And if it was anybody else who did so, especially on the right, would probably be fired for it. But Colbert has the backing. He has the protection of the liberal left. So he's allowed to say whatever he wants, and he gets away with it. So what he said essentially was, he did a few jokes, but one of them was, he said Donald Trump's mouth is good for being Putin's cock holster. Now, if Sean Hannity called Obama a cocksucker, what do you think would happen? Do you think that there'd be a chance to fire Hannity? Do you think the liberal media would maybe cover it a lot? Well, we don't see that at all. Huffington Post, which is infamous for attacking Donald Trump on everything he says, regardless if it's actually bad or not, if it's derogatory or not, they were completely silent on this whole issue. For media organizations to claim to be for the protection of free speech and to claim to be about the protection of those who are demeaned and insulted, we're really quiet on this whole issue here. It's because Stephen Colbert is a leftist joke. And I used to like Colbert. Back when he did the Colbert Report in 2007, 2008, I liked him. And I liked it because his was a satirical show that attacked both sides of the political spectrum. There was not just against the right like it is now. It was, he joked about the left, he joked about the right, he joked about everybody. But now, he is part of the progressive and regressive propaganda that the goal is to disseminate your political opinion, but do it through comedy. So people are slowly being fed and brainwashed what to think and feel, but at the same time are listening to it under the guise of comedy. So then they can look at it as a joke, but at the same time, they are reinforcing their own behavior to believe these same comedians. And it works all the time. And I always said too, like, people like Jon Stewart, who I actually liked the Daily Show back in the day too, is that they have been made because they can say that they're a comedy show. So whenever they do something that may be questionable or maybe morally reprehensible or something, they can say, I'm a comedy show, it's making a joke. But at the same time, then, they can give their political opinions out. And they can use that. So they always have, like, a defense whenever something goes bad for them. And that's actually, it's pretty genius in this work. Because a lot of people fall for it. A lot of people actually don't really read between the lines and think about exactly what they are talking about. Like, wow, this guy, he's really saying some stuff that are really quite political, but he's doing it in a way that I'm kind of blind to it. I really don't listen to it at all. But really, I'm taking it all in. I'm absorbing it all at such a rate that I may actually become that same political opinion. We'll go over a little bit of the joke here, or a little bit of the article. The diss joke was one among many hurled at Trump in the evening's monologue, which focused on the president's interview with CBS John Dickerson. The interview ended abruptly when Dickerson questioned the president about the unsubstantiated claim that Obama wiretapped Trump's campaign. I just wanted to find out, you're the president, you said Obama was sick and bad, Dickerson pointed out in the interview. Trump famously called the president sick and bad in a series of tweets in March. You don't have to ask me because I have my own opinions. You can have your own opinions, Trump replied. After Dickerson pressed the matter, Trump declared that's enough. The interview ended with an awkward silence while Trump ruffled through papers in the Oval Office. It's actually kind of funny. Here's some tweets quickly, and we'll move on. What people thought about Stephen Colbert and his derogatory aspersions. I'm going to blow your mind. Stephen Colbert is a great comedian who shouldn't be fired, but that joke was homophobic and cheap. And yes, it was homophobic. And where's the outrage over the LGBT community? The LGBT community are upset about Donald Trump. They think he's against gay rights. And yet, he has said that he is for gay rights. So, they are attacking Donald Trump for being a sexist or an LGBTist on the grounds that of what his future actions may be. They are speculating on what he is going to do against the LGBT community. Yet they have someone like Stephen Colbert who blatantly said right out a sexist statement, insult, and they are not attacking him at all. They're sticking with attacking Donald Trump. And why? Why are they doing that? Because it's all political. They don't care. It's wrong for the right to do something, but the left does something because they are brave. It's because they are speaking out against the status quo, because they are attacking the ethos of a corrupt government, stuff like that. Stephen Colbert makes homophobic joke. LGBT plus people, can you not? Liberals, all he did was imply gay sex acts are shameful. Get over it. Alright, let's move on. Like I said, I have a video going over this kind of more in-depthly on a different video, so we'll move on here. President Obama team sought NSA intel on thousands of Americans during the 2016 election. Oh, Obama once again violating our constitutional rights in the Fourth Amendment, of course. Because, Obama really cares about the people of America. Just like he cares about the French people, which we'll go over in my last video here. It should be noted, too, that Rand Paul is actually accusing now the Obama administration for wiretapping his communications as well. And Rand Paul is pissed. And that is good, because we know that Obama is corrupt. We know this. It's a fact. It's not speculation. It is a fact. So we know that Obama did monitor and thousands of Americans. And now, though, he may have done it to a U.S. senator who has a lot of clout with conservatives. So this could be pretty big here, especially if Rand Paul continues to make demands that any type of leaked data or any type of unmasking be released to him so he can know who the hell in government is breaking the law and spying on U.S. senator, for one. The Obama administration distributed thousands of intelligence reports with unredacted names of U.S. residents during the 2016 election. During his final year in office, Obama's team significantly expanded efforts to search NSA intercepts for information about Americans, distributing thousands of intelligence reports across government with the unredacted names of U.S. residents during the midst of the divisive 2016 presidential election. The data, made available this week by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, provides the clearest evidence to date of how information accidentally collected by the NSA overseas about Americans was subsequently searched and disseminated after President Obama loosened privacy protections to make such sharing easier in 2011 in the name of national security. The revelations are particularly sensitive since the NSA is legally forbidden from directly spying on Americans, and its authority to conduct warrantless searches on foreigners is up for the renewal in Congress later this year. Yes, because when Eric Stone came out, and he came out with the NSA is spying on American people, and we had James Clapper lie under oath about it and get off scot-free. That was one of the biggest insults to the American people. Besides, of course, the Patriot Act, which used the threat of war as the basis to oppress the American people, to oppress their rights and liberties, and be able to spy on them, because they do it in the name of national security. Everything can be in the name of national security, and it's wrong. The citizens of the country are the government of the country. The government is of the people, by the people, and for the people. They have no right to spy on the people. It was wrong. James Clapper should have been arrested. He should have been indicted, but he never was, because politicians, especially high-profile ones, have different laws than the common folk do, like us. They can get away with everything. Just look at Hillary Rodham Clinton, for example. Where is I at here? The revelations are particularly sensitive since the NSA is legally forbidden for ivory rather than I. And all government officials conducted 30,355 searches in 2016 seeking information about Americans and NSA intercept metadata, which include telephone numbers and email addresses. The activity amounted to a 27.5 increase over the prior year and more than triple the 9,500 such searches that occurred in 2013. The government in 2016 also scoured the actual contents of NSA intercept calls and emails for 5,200 Americans, an increase of 13% over the prior year and a massive spike from the 198 names searched in 2013. I think it just gives more credence to us. I think this lends more reinforcement to the belief that our government is not doing right by us. They're actually breaking the law and spying on us. The Constitution is not malleable. The Constitution is a set, binding document, and it should be completely followed. And Austin Peterson, who was a 2016 Libertarian candidate, said it best, is that if the President and Congress would only follow the Constitution and don't do anything else outside the purview of the Constitution, the American country, the nation of America, would be so much better off. And it's so true. No more attacking people overseas without congressional approval. No more insinuating that the Constitution should not be looked upon as a reliable document, but instead look on it as a document that is malleable, subject to growth and transformation over time. If we would actually go back to the foundation of America and focus strictly and primarily on the Constitution and adhere to its principles, the country would be so much better overall. That's why the founders were so brilliant. They understood how leaders can be corrupt, how power can drive anyone to want more power, to want more influence, to use their power to oppress and violate the rights and liberties of their same people. They understood this, and that's why the Constitution is so key. And that's why whenever you hear people like Dianne Feinstein, a senator from California, and she's attacking and denigrating the Constitution, saying it is a living, breathing document and it changes over time, it's really frustrating, because if that's the case, then I fear that America is inevitably due to some type of authoritarian rule in the future, because power will always be achieved by those who want it strongly enough, and they will do whatever they can to get it. And if they don't have any type of principles to follow, if they don't have any guidelines to adhere to, they can make things up as they go. And although Donald Trump isn't a fascist, by ignoring the Constitution, it's quite possible that we may have a fascist in the future. We may have a Bernie Sanders who becomes communist. We don't know. So it's important, it's imperative, it is essential to follow the Constitution. Among those names were unmasked in 2016, early 2017, were campaign of transition associates of President Trump, as well as members of Congress and their staffers, according to sources with direct knowledge. Ooh. Oh, Obama. The data kept by ODNI is missing some information from one of the largest consumers of NSA intelligence, the FBI. And officials acknowledge that the numbers are much likely higher than the FBI's activities added. There's no doubt that there was a spike in the request to search for Americans in the database. A U.S. official familiar with intelligence told Circa News, very good by the way. Susan Carter, very good reporter. She's the one that is breaking the Extortion 17 whole fiasco. I did a video on that too. Actually, I didn't do a video personally. I uploaded a couple of videos of Larry Clemene, who founded the a Judicial Watch, and who is a lawyer representing the families of Extortion 17 victims. Then I also did where Sarah Carter interviews the what's her name? The whistleblower on Extortion 17. So those are pretty good videos. Also, a good buddy of mine, The Seeker, he does a lot of good stuff with that. He is discussing the breaking news happening with Extortion 17, so I recommend checking him out as well. Good information there. Yeah, it's very interesting. So Circa, I really do enjoy their reporting. They're unbiased. They're willing to go after whoever. It doesn't matter. Political affiliation is irrelevant when justice should be sought after with respect to the law. So speaking only on condition of anonymity, because of the sensitive nature of the data, it's simply easier for people to make requests. And while we have safeguards, there's always concern and vigilance about possible political or prurient motives that go beyond national security concerns. Yes, indeed. Let's see what else we got here. The NSA is allowed to spy on foreign powers without a court warrant under Section 702 of the Foreign Surveillance Intelligence Act, but is forbidden from targeting Americans. Cough, Obama. Cough, Hillary. Right, not Hillary. Cough, Obama. Cough, cough, Obama, Obama. Cough, Obama. Cough, cough, Obama, Obama. Cough, Obama. Where's I at now? For years, the NSA was required to follow strict rules to protect the accidental intercepts of Americans from being consumed by other government agencies. The rules required a process known as minimization, where the identity of an intercepted American is redacted or masked with generic references like American Number 1. But the intelligence community fought hard over the last decade, starting under George W. and continuing under Obama, to gain greater access to NSA intercepts of Americans overseas, citing the growing challenges of stopping lone wolf terrorists, state-sponsored hackers, and foreign threats. Well, I have a simple quote that gives my opinion of this whole paragraph. Those who sacrifice security for liberty deserve neither. Benjamin Franklin. I think that was Franklin. Franklin or Jefferson. Franklin. So yeah, let's move on to the next article here. Overall, that's just, it's sad. We have to go back to our foundation. We have to adhere the concepts and the principles of our founding constitution. If we adhere to that and we give people the rights and liberties that they are granted under the Constitution, this country would be a better place. Wanda Sykes, this one's good. Repealing Obamacare is racist because Obama is black. Oh man. Wanda Sykes, so she's an actress, I guess. I never really knew anything she has done that's really important, but wow, she's saying that the whole reason Republicans want to repeal Obamacare isn't because Obamacare is actually failing and is making healthcare prices go up and is actually causing more people to go in debt and is killing jobs. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do because he is black. I kid you not. It's like, wow, people are actually this gullible. People are this naive to live under this notion, to live under the conception that everything's black and white. That if Republicans want to do something against Obama's political agenda, it isn't because they disagree with the agenda. It is because they disagree with Obama's skin color. That is my whole main point of regressives. I used to call it the absolute principle, but now actually doing more research, it's kind of like strict utilitarianism in a way. It's where one sec here, I had a momentary lapse of reason. What the hell was I talking about? Okay, I remember. Yeah, it's because like people, the regressives, they believe that if you disagree with them, it is because you are the summation of the worst possible insult affiliated with their beliefs. So, say you disagree with someone in Black Lives Matter. Say you disagree with them on some aspects of the Black Lives Matter doctrine. It isn't because you disagree with some of the aspects. It is because you disagree that blacks should have equal rights. It is because you think that egalitarianism is more of a harm and should not be disseminated and distributed to the American people. That's the whole regressive ideology here. Yeah, I find that crazy though. It's that whole notion. It's insane. Let's move on. They're just trying to erase anything that President Obama did. I bet you they want to act like that man never existed. Half the country wants to act like that man never existed. Why do you think that is? Asked Joy Behar. It's racism, Sykes insisted. That's it. They hate having a black president and they want to get rid of it. That's what it is. It is racism, and because I am black, I can say that, and you cannot disagree with me or else you are racist. Behar reminded Sykes that wasn't the only reason. Well, I think it's also they hated his policies because they've been dying to put everything back to the states and make the government smaller and make money for the very rich. And he didn't do that. Oh my God. Okay. First up, Behar, you were looking so promising there. Well, I think it's also because they hated his policies. Yes, they did hate his policies. That's absolutely true. And then this is true because they've been dying to put everything back to the states. Yes, the states should have power. Federalism works. We should let federalism work. And make the government smaller. Yes, because when government gets involved, prices go up and quality goes down. And make money for the very rich. Oh, no. You were doing so well there. And he didn't do that. Yes, Obama did do that. You don't think Obama made rich people richer? You kidding me? The income inequality gap did not go down under Obama. It went up under Obama. It went up. So yes, technically Obama did make the rich richer. He did do everything you are saying the Republicans want to do. You are a hypocrite, Joy Behar. You were doing well at first, but then you failed at the end. I think it's about that too. Yeah, that's good to hear, but you're completely wrong. Just like your racist Wanda Sykes. And yes, I do call her racist because whenever you accuse other people of being racist automatically, it makes you a racist because you are assuming that another race is racist just because you are a different race. Yes, that may be a tongue twister, but listen it closely and you'll see it makes sense. Alright, this one here. This one's sad. Video and death of Penn State pledge, a blessing and a curse, lawyer says. This is actually sad. It's kind of heartbreaking. This kid was 19 years old, and during one of his pledge, he was hazed pretty badly. Apparently, they made him drink a shit ton of booze, and they didn't call the hospital or the ambulance at all, and he kept falling. He fell down flights of stairs like twice, kept hitting his head, and he could have been saved. Now, where I'm from, there are colleges, but it's not really a college town. The university I went to didn't have a fraternity. If they did, I didn't know because I actually lived at my own place, but nothing that was big enough that I would have actually known about it ahead of time. But I mean, I understand fraternities. I understand the point of them, It's like you're supposed to have fun. It's a group of people. It's a collective ideology, in essence, of a group of friends get together, they have fun, they do their school, but they party, essentially it. And it's good because it's fun to be a part of something. It's important to be a part of something. But this took it too far. This kid's alcohol content was 4 times more than the legal limit. He had anywhere on his death from 0.26 to 0.36% alcohol content. That is insane. And when there's people here, we'll just watch the video quick.
Brothers gathered around Timothy, where some of them described that he looked dead, and they waited over 40 minutes before they called for help.
This is the result of feeling of entitlement, flagrant disobedience of the law, and disregard of moral values. That was then exacerbated by egregious acts of self-preservation.
It's sad. It really is sad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to party a lot. I still go out to the bars. Not as often as I did, but you have to know your limits. I mean, especially when somebody looks like he's about to die. And that's what it looked like. That's what they look like. Those responsible for the death of Penn State University fraternity pledge deserve to be punished. The attorney for the family of student Timothy Piazza told CNN, 8 Penn State students and the Beta Theta Pi fraternity were charged Friday with involuntary manslaughter. 10 other fraternity members were also charged. The victim of Lebanon, New Jersey, died February 4, 2 days after he was injured while pledging the fraternity. The cause of death was traumatic brain injury resulting from several falls after a night of heavy drinking, including one fall down a set of basement stairs. A county grand jury investigation found. A forensic pathologist calculated that Piazza had a life-threatening blood alcohol level content on the night he was hurt. What's more, surveillance video and other evidence contradicts fraternity members' versions of how they treated Piazza, including the length of time it took them to call an ambulance. It all points to an attempted cover-up. This was in a fraternity house, but don't mistake the fact of it being at a fraternity house for the chilling, numbing facts which are in this investigative report by the grand jury. The video is both a blessing and a curse, Klein said. A blessing insofar as prosecutors know what they know in a great detail, but a curse for your clients to know that it's all captured and it's all there to see. Though graphic, video evidence is the great equalizer in the particular situation. The video is shocking, it is numbing, describing by the president of the university as inhumane and sickening. Not my words, but the president of Penn State, he said. The things that were captured on that video should not take place anywhere. He was in a forced hazing ritual, Klein said. This fraternity and the culture of the Penn State campus, which allowed this to take place, should not take place in any university on any campus anywhere in America. Penn State President Eric Barron called the series of events that led to the death sickening and difficult to understand. The university permanently banned the fraternity from operating a chapter on campus. I just want to, go over one last time. It is sad because they waited about 40 minutes after he was unconscious to call the police, after he fell down the stairs more than once, after he has hit his head more than once. They knew better, but they were young and they didn't want to get in trouble. So what they did, they decided to cover it up. They refused to get this kid help, and now the kid's dead. Let's move on. This one is actually my video. This piece of shit still doing everything he's paid to do to destroy this. Very true. So Obama once more has to get involved with politics, just like he did with Hillary, just like he wants to do against Trump, just like he did against Trump during the election. Obama decides to endorse the, I guess you could say, exact equal of who Obama himself was. Macron is a plutocrat. Macron is a Rothschild's banker. He is corrupt. He broke the law by tax evasion, and Obama wants to praise him.
I've always been grateful for the friendship of the French people, and for the work we did together when I was President of the United States. I'm not planning to get involved in many elections now that I don't have to run for office again.
But I will continue to do so just because I have a really big ego and I really want to be involved because I think people love me for whatever reason.
But the French election is very important to the future of France and the values that we care so much about.
And what values are those? Let me guess. Bring in radical Islam over so more French people can die at the hands of radical Islam? The same ideology that you yourself praise so much, that you apologize for, that when a radical Islamic attack happens, you want to blame it on guns instead of ISIS, like you did in the past?
Because the success of France matters to the entire world.
Yes, it does.
I have admired the campaign that Emmanuel Macron has run.
How? Why? What exactly did he do? He came out of nowhere with the backing of billionaires, with the French-run media completely behind him, not allowing Le Pen any type of positive news coverage. How is he even remotely good for the country of France?
He has stood up for liberal values.
That's what it is. Liberal values. Okay. So the whole reason why he is good is because you think that he adapts with your whole progressive viewpoint. That collectivism is more important than individualism. So when more people die in France now, when more crimes happen in France because of the spread of radical Islam, I guess we should be thanking you for that, for your brilliant endorsement, right?
The important role that France plays in Europe and around the world. And he is committed to a better future for the French people. He appeals to people's hopes, and not their fears.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed speaking to men.
Yeah. So that's why he said that Le Pen is creating a civil war, and he was saying that she is basically a catalyst for civil war. That is not playing on the fears of anyone. You're right, Obama.
You all recently to hear about his independent movement and his vision for the future of France. I know that you face many challenges, and I want all of my friends in France to know how much I am rooting for your success. Because of how important this election is, I also want you to know that I am supporting Emmanuel Macron to lead you forward.
If there is, first off, before I go there, I'm really disappointed in the French people. You see your country devolving. You see your country in a dilapidated state where crime is rampant. You look at your neighbors, you look at Sweden, you look at Germany. That is how France is going to become. You're going to become a country where the French people are no longer the majority. They're going to be the minority, like Sweden. You're going to run into rape gangs. You're going to run into radical Islam. And you had a choice. You had a chance to save your country from the threat of radical Islam, to save your country from the assimilation of people who don't align with your views, who believe in the oppression of women, who believe in Sharia law. You had a choice. You had a chance to save your country, France. And you screwed up by picking Macron. You screwed up so bad, you have no idea why. But there is a silver lining to this. It's sad, but there is a silver lining. France is going to continue to degenerate. Every year, France will get worse and worse. You will see crime continue to rise. You will see terrorist attacks continue to rise. And you will see corruption rise. And in 5 years, on the next election then, Le Pen will probably win. Because by then, the country is going to be so destroyed, so dilapidated, such a piece of shit, that the French people are going to be angry. They're going to be so upset that they will elect Marine Le Pen. So France, you will have to suffer for the next 5 years. But on a plus side, those 5 years will probably be so bad that it might make it nearly impossible for any type of people like Macron to run and hold the office of the president in France in the future. So by suffering now, you could possibly save the future of your country and stop the threat of radical Islam. And that is the second installment of the Weekly Crap Recap. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you want more. And I'm done. Oops.